It is time for your favorite Android podcast from the crew of blindandroidusers.com. Kick back and enjoy another fine episode from these Google fanboys as they navigate Android from a blindness perspective. And now, here are your hosts.
Hello and welcome to episode 40 of the Blind Android Users podcast. I'm Ed Green and I'm joined this evening by my co-hosts Warren Carr, Austin Pinto and Doug Cameron. And we're recording this episode on the 11th of September 2021. It's a busy show for you this week, lots of content. We have the usual announcement section from Austin. Our must-have apps section this week is all about text editors. We then turn to our app of the week, and it's a continuation from last week's episode where we spoke to Gleb from Voxmate, and I'll be demonstrating the Voxmate app in some detail to give you a feel of what it does and how it operates. We'll then have the next in our CSR series from Mariam. We have the Talkback highlights then from Warren. We have a tip of the week from Karine Kuwan about dual audio on Samsung devices. And I'm delighted to say that we're joined for his Android journey this week by Bilal Majid from the UK. Hey folks, how are we all doing? Austin, what's going on?
I'm doing good. Mumbai's back and it's nice raining. I'm very happy today because it's a small milestone, episode 40. And I'm also happy today because we have driven our former masters out of their own homes in the old test match.
The cricket. But unfortunately, there was a tale of cowardice and avarice in Manchester, wasn't there? Where despite having no COVID cases among the playing staff, Virat the chicken decided that they couldn't possibly play, not least because they had millions of dollars to go and earn in the IPL. At least, though, chickens will come home to roost if you play it next year.
Wait, Ed. Did they actually drive the master out of his house?
India won, but Virat knew they would lose in Manchester because he's already thrown away one lead. He's no Rahane when it comes to captaincy. So Virat, insecure chicken, decided that even though they had no COVID cases, they would not play because they want to go earn millions of dollars. But luckily, when they play next year, India will have had no prep, and all our fast bowlers will be fit.
Well, at least they drove you out of the house. I think that's all that matters, right?
Wow.
You know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about.
What's going on with you? Was there in Washington?
Yesterday we were literally in a pea soup. It was just also rainy and we were like maybe 56 degrees for the high. And we actually thought about turning on the heat because it was cold. And I'm glad, today we're kind of bounced back up and nice weather today. So really nice fallish feel out here. We love it.
And Cameron Douglas, north of the 49th?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Got a lot of yard work to do today.
Got to be done. Nice weather. And Bilal, hi, how are you?
I'm good. I just had my lunch. My wife made me some pizza on toast, melted cheese and sweet corn, very nice. And just had some 7-Up to go. Weather's nice here.
Good. What announcements have you got for us, Austin? Save us from ourselves.
So this week's the announcements are very happy announcements. We have crossed 20,000 plays on a podcast. We have reached episode 40 and are just 10 episodes away from episode 50. And we are very happy and very proud to welcome our second sponsor of the show, that is Gravity Forms, which if you have a WordPress website, they are an excellent form builder and they have lots of other components and plugins that you can use to enhance the accessibility and also protect your forms with CAPTCHA in an accessible way. So we welcome Gravity Forms.
Thanks very much, Austin. And I think just before we move off the announcement section, we're going to just touch on Android Beta 5, which launched earlier in the week. Warren, do you want to tell us about that?
So he's talking about Android 12 Beta 5, and not so much happened, but we got a couple or maybe three things that Google just sneaked in there. Now you can do a system-wide search, and the only thing I don't like about that is you have to go to the apps drawer in order to find that system-wide search, or else I think it's a nice implementation. I hope that maybe they kind of replace the search on the dock with this one, so one does not need to go into the apps drawer in order to make that system-wide search. In other words, you go to this app drawer and you can search for anything on your phone. It's going to be the first results that's going to be searched for is locally on your phone. And then, of course, if you want to search on the web, then there's a Google search below that. So it's a nice implementation that Google has done. And I like that. I really like Android 12 and what they have done. So I think that's it for Android 12 Beta 5. And I think there was another thing though, but that I'm missing. Oh, by the way, I think what it is that now in your menu, so if you swipe down, you go to like the power menu. Now we have something in there called the lockdown. The lockdown, however, it's not locking you down from COVID or anything like that. But if you tap on that lockdown, it locks your phone so that if you use a phone that has a fingerprint reader, it's not even going to unlock the phone. Or for instance, if I use my Pixel 4 that has a face unlock, it's not going to unlock the phone. So you can only unlock it with your PIN. So that's a good thing. You can, if you plan on putting your phone down somewhere, you want to tap on that lockdown and have it locked down. And then now we also have that home control that Google removed, I think in Beta 3 or Beta 4. I think it's Beta 3. That feature is now back. Another thing that I want to talk about here, though, is not related to Android 12, has to do with the little tweak to the Google Assistant. In other words, when you go into your Google Assistant, you tap on the menu and you go tap on things like the voice match and then the personal results. You're going to see two tabs in those places. There's this phone on the left and then other devices on the right. Those are the two tabs that you will find in either the voice match or the personal results. Interestingly, though, when you go to that personal results, the tab changes from this phone to your phone. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to find the voice search on my
voice search
phone here. Weather. I'm just doing that to bring up the Google Assistant. So I'm going to tap on the Assistant menu. On the top, we're going to find where it says Assistant menu.
Google Assistant menu button. Assistant settings.
Now scroll down and I'm going to find and tap on that voice match.
Languages, voice match. Teach your assistant direct. Assistant.
We are now in the voice match area, and just about a couple inches from the top of the phone in the middle, we find these two tabs that I'm talking about. One says this phone, and that's the one on the left, and then the other one says other devices. Let me show you those things, and by default, the one that's selected is the This Phone tab.
This phone tab selected 1 of 2.
And that's this phone, and I don't want to trigger the devices in my house, but it has all the stuff having to do with that magic word and all of that. Now, on the right side, if I move my finger to the right, we have the one that says Other Devices.
Other Devices tab 2 of 2.
And if I tap here on that Other Devices,
Other Devices selected.
Basically what that has is having to do with any devices that I have, be they the Chromecasts or the Google speakers and all of that, Nest devices and things like that. So if I put my finger down here,
Home, 3 devices and list.
I got 3 devices in the home.
Chromecast and list.
There's Chromecast. So in other words, you can go in here and manage the sensitivities of these different devices and things like that. Now go back and let's go down to the one that says Personal Results.
Languages, lock screen, personal results, get info and suggestions specific to you. Assistant settings.
Again, tapping on the personal results, as I indicated earlier, near the top, a couple of inches from the top in the middle, you're going to find the 2 tabs. And instead of this phone on the left, this time we're going to hear your phone on the left and then other devices tab on the right. I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Your phone, tab, selected, 1 of 2, and list, 2 items.
And everything below that has to do with my phone because that's the one that's selected by default. So things like
personal suggestions on lock screen before you ask. See helpful info and suggest on headphones. Hear product. See personalized suggestions and action.
You get the drift. And now on the right side, we have the tab that says other devices.
Other devices, tab, other devices, selected.
Tapping on that, here's what we got.
Home, 3 devices, and Chromecast, off, and list, the cat, on. XDR65, turn off personal results.
So you're seeing the devices in my house, like my TVs and Chromecasts. Of course, I give them names, funny names and things like that. But that's the gist about the little new tweak that Google has on the Google Assistant. This is not something that's coming via the Google Assistant update. Rather, this is going to be something that rolls out on the server side of things. So look forward to seeing that on your googly things when it hits your assistant. That's all I can say about Android 12 Beta 5.
Do you remember that song from Kanye West? Keep your love locked down. Remember that song?
Oh, thank you so much.
And last,
Yeah.
and last but not the least, finally they have fixed autocomplete, so that has been fixed.
Yes, that has made me so
That's
happy.
a huge one. Yes, thank you. Because I know Doug and I were kind of very angry about that because, gosh, my goodness, why that was, I never would have known why, but it's back and beautiful autofill is now back.
That's a good thing. And what happens from now, Warren? We've had Android 12 Beta 5. Is that it? Is Android 12 coming next? We're getting Beta 6. What do you expect?
This is the last beta. And unless, of course, Google surprises us by giving us Beta 5.1, or else this is the last one. The next one is going to be the final public release of Android 12. And,
I think we're going to get an Android 12.1 release.
Yeah. There's some works in, for Android 12.1, but I think as of the betas before the public release of Android 12, this is the final beta, unless of course they do Android 12 beta 5.1 like we had beta 4.1. But I doubt it very much. And my gut feeling is that we probably see the final release of Android 12 maybe at the end of this month or early next month.
And will they tie it to the Pixel 6 or will they be completely independent of each other?
No, the Pixel 6 has to come out rocking the Android 12. So definitely the Pixel 6 is going to come out rocking Android 12. And that's why all the rumor wheels are pointing to October the 19th for the announcement of the Pixel 6. We'll see what happens.
And will they push 12 to the 5s and the other eligible devices, or will the 12 only hit on Pixel 6 release day?
Every phone that qualifies, every phone that has been running Android 12 will automatically get that thing pushed out to them. And
I know that. What I'm saying is, will they wait for the Pixel 6 release day for that to happen, or will they'll get it earlier?
Now, if they roll out the Pixel, if they roll out Android 12 at the end of this month, for example, or early next month, then these other phones that already are rocking the beta will automatically get that push out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And just another point for our listeners, if you have a OnePlus 7, OnePlus 7T, or the OnePlus 8 series phone, there is a custom ROM available. You can enjoy Android 12 Beta 5.
Excellent. That's good news. So do you check those out? Those are on XDA, are they, Austin?
Yeah, they're on XDA.
Yeah, so head over there and have a look. Now we turn to our must-have apps section for this week, and it's all about text editors. and how best to edit text on Android. Which programs are best for that? Not so much some of the tips and tricks with Talkback and CSR, which is covered in previous episodes, but which apps are best at accomplishing your text editing needs. And it's interesting the way these segments fall. After we decided to do this, I've seen a couple of queries on a different email lists about this. Warren, do you want to kick us off?
Text editors are a very good way for us to do our text input, right? So you want to write something down or something of the sort. Of course, you need something you can write with. And I tell you what, there's a plethora of those things, and it all depends on the person and what your needs are. And that will determine as to which of the text editors that you're going to choose to make as your default. I've been playing with a few of those, and frankly, there's a bunch of those things. I think what comes to mind, things like Google Keep Notes, and we have Simple Notes. Of course, just the name suggests Simple Notes is a good editor. And then, of course, we have the bundle notes. And if you are visual or you have some sight, you want to color your notes and give them different colors and things like that. Bundle notes probably is one of those that you should look into. And they've been there. I think they were even there before Google Keep Notes came along. So there are no Johnny just come kind of thing. They've been there for quite a spell. But then I have this one that I really like, and I think it's free, and it's called Notepad Free. Just the name suggests it too. So it's a good one. I've played with it, and I'm going to be demonstrating that, and you should take a listen to it. In keeping with our theme of text editors, I will be demonstrating an app called Notepad Free.
Notepad Free. Notepad Free. Open navigation drawer button.
When you launch Notepad Free, we are told that we're sitting on a button that says Open Navigation Drawer. That is found on the top left corner of the phone. Now, to the right of that, we're going right from there. And to the right of that, we find this text that says,
Hi, how are you? Tap to open, last edited.
That's a note from the developer of the app. Now, going to the right from here, we have 3 buttons, and these buttons are
Search,
Sort,
More Options button,
and More Options. Now, at the very bottom right corner of the phone is a very important button, and that button is the New Note button. Let me now put my finger down and go find that New Note.
New Note button.
That's our New Note button. Let's go back up now and look at those other 4 buttons at the top. We'll start on the top left corner, and that's with the one that says that Open Navigation Drawer.
Notepad Open Navigation Drawer. Menu.
Tapping on Open Navigation Drawer, here are the items that we find. I'm not going to go into each and every one of these, but you know that they are here so you can look at them. Here are the items that we find upon tapping on the Open Navigation Drawer.
Notes.
We have notes.
Categories.
Edit
categories.
Edit those categories. Backup.
Trash.
Settings.
Rate the app.
Rate it. Help.
Privacy policy.
And privacy policy. Let's go back up now to settings, because that's probably the most important one that we would like to look at.
Trash settings. Notepad Free. Navigate up button.
Tapping on settings takes us to the following items.
Theme. Changes color theme of visible elements and list.
Here you can tap and change it to either dark or light. By default is light color. And below that we have
password settings.
Password settings. You can go in here and create a password to open your notes or protect your notes with a password. The next item,
note list.
The note list. You can go in here and see a list of notes that you have. The next item,
note editing.
Note editing. You can go in here and customize how you go about your note editing. Let's take a quick look just for a giggle, shall we? Tapping on note editing, here are the things that we find.
Show note keyboard. Show keyboard after entering the note screen. Switch on and lit. Cursor position in the note. Cursor position after opening the note with keyboard visible. Showing.
Okay.
Switch save and undo buttons. Switches the save and undo buttons placement. Switch off. Switch save and undo. Save notes automatically. Changes in notes are saved automatically. Disabling it may cause losing unsaved parts of notes. Switch up. Confirm dropping unsaved changes. Asks for confirmation before closing a note with unsaved changes. Switch up. Open notes in red mode. Open notes in red mode by default. Switch off. Keep screen on. Keeps the screen from turning off after opening a note. Switch off. Disable text autocomplete. Disables phone keyboard's autocomplete feature. May cause side effects. For example, disabling starting sentences with a capital letter. Recommended solution is to disable autocompletion directly in the phone keyboard settings. Switch off. Draw lines in background. Draws lines behind text in the background. Switch off. Draw line numbers. Displays the line number next to a line. Clickable links. Clicking a link in a note will open it in an external app. Switch off.
And that's the last one. You could choose to include lines on there if you want, but for me as a blind person, I probably wouldn't have that line drawing. All right, now I'm going to go back. I am now back in the menu eye, and the next button we want to look at near the top right corner will be the More Options.
More options. But pop-up window. Select all notes and list.
You can select all notes.
Import text files.
Import text file. That means if you tap here, you can go choose a text that you want to import and work on. That's something stored on your phone.
Export notes to text files.
Or you can export your notes to a text file. That's what we find in the More Options. I'm going to go back. Now let's go to the bottom right and tap on that New Note button.
New Note button. Showing English, US, QWERTY, keyboard. Notepad free. Enter title, edit box, editing.
Upon tapping on New Note, it actually places us right in the title bar, and it is editing, and it is telling us to give it a title. So now I'll just say Notepad free.
Voice input.
Notepad free.
Next. Enter text, edit box, editing. Showing English, US.
I tapped on next. Now I'll go touch the title bar area to see if it got what I dictated for my title.
Notepad free, edit box, enter title.
There's my title saying Notepad free. Since my active cursor is now in the body of the note, I will simply go ahead and do a little typing. Of course, I'm going to do voice dictation.
Voice input.
This is using the little app that I just found, period, new paragraph. I hope that this is going to turn out just the way that we want it, period, new paragraph. The most important thing here, comma, is to make sure that this app is accessible, period, new paragraph. So far, comma, so good, exclamation mark, new paragraph. This now concludes our testing of the little Notepad free, period. Now I'll put my finger down, see what I dictated came out right.
This is using the little app that I just found. I hope that this is going to turn out just the way that we wanted. The most important thing here is to make sure that this app is accessible. So far, so good. This now concludes our testing of the little Notepad free, edit box, editing, enter text.
So there is our text that I just dictated. And as you can see, it is very accessible. Now that I have dictated some text, let's now see if we have any new buttons that got introduced as a result of typing in a text. Here are the items that we find. I'm going to start from the top left corner and go right from there.
Navigate up button.
There's that navigate up.
Notepad free, edit box, enter title.
And then that's my title. Now I'm going right from there.
Save.
There's a save. And right of that.
Undo.
Undo. Right of that.
More options button.
More options. Let's tap on more options and see what options appear now that we have text.
Keyboard hidden. Pop-up window. Redo.
We got redo.
Undo all.
Undo all.
Share.
share,
delete,
delete,
print,
print,
export to a text file, categorize, switch to read mode, back button out of list,
and back.
show it.
And that has been Notepad free. As you can see, it is totally accessible.
Thanks for that demo, Warren. And I think a couple of other ones you mentioned. Bundle notes, you said, was good if you want to color code your notes. But the other two, text notes and simple notes, what do they do? Are they broadly speaking the same?
They're basically the same thing. Simple notes is just the guys that do the simple apps. You got the simple dialer, simple calendar. And I actually like their apps because they're accessible and they're very simple, basic. So if you don't want any complications and all that, complex going on, then these are apps you should be getting from these guys. I just need to see what their username is on the Play Store, but they go by the simple stuff.
And Google Keep Notes, I think various, that'll be a fairly familiar app to a lot of people. Google Keeps are good, simple apps. Austin, do you use text editors on Android?
Yeah, I use Google Keep app for text editors if I want to edit something simple or want to make some notes. But if I want to edit a professional document, I don't edit much on Android, but I use the MS Word because I have Office 365, so I got it with that.
And is that all bundled up into an Office suite on Android now, isn't it? You've sort of got you download it and then go and choose Word from that, do you? Is that how that's working now?
Yeah, you get Word, PowerPoint, Excel. They're separate apps still.
And do they work well with Android?
Yeah, they work well. A little inaccessible, but they work okay.
And, some of these things, I think, one wants it to be able to sync with other devices and things like that. So, like I said, it depends on the need of the person. I think that Google Keep Notes is probably one of the best ones out there when it comes to syncing with your other devices. Now, the one I just talked about, the Notepad free, however, you can sync it with some of your cloud storages as well. So it's a good thing. Doug, you use any?
I actually
which
generally,
one is your favorite?
I'll actually bounce between OneNote and Google Keep. Depending on what I need will depend on which app I'll pull up. So if I needed to, say, sync over to all my computers, I'll just do it in Google Keep. If I'm just needing it on my phone, I'll just throw it up into OneDrive because I don't sync anywhere. So text editing on the phone, I just find just in general to be really clunky. So I keep it short.
Yeah, so the whole idea is just to be able to take a quick note and things like that. And for me, I think it just comes in handy when you need something, you meet someone, you want to write a little thing about them or whatever. I always pull out my phone and take down those notes and things like that. And of course, you can do, voice recording if that's what you want, voice notes, and that's what comes in handy as well. So I know that Google Keep does have that. And I don't think that the one I just demonstrated has that. I didn't see that anywhere. But of course, maybe something one could request, but I didn't see that.
Lau, do you do much text editing on your phone, or is that not what you tend to use your phone for?
Google Keep Notes, I use Apple Notes, I use Notepad on my laptop. If I want to type a note on my phone, I ask Google Assistant, and she or he types it in.
Apple Notes sounds rather naughty. Does that exist on Android, or do you have a confession to make about second devices that you might own?
I use all three. I use Windows, iOS, and Android.
Oh, so you have a confession to make.
Ed, shall we have Bilal come to confession time?
I think he needs to. I think we need an intervention, don't we? We need
a little
an
bit of
intervention
cleansing.
for Bilal. I think we do.
There's no harm with using 3 OSs.
But I think you need to come to confession time.
Yeah.
I have an iPad, I have an iPhone, I have a Google Pixel, and I have a Microsoft Surface. I have a Samsung. What do I have? A Dell. I have a Dell desktop. I have an Asus. It's got loads.
Yeah, well, no, we're
Yeah,
all right. We're
but
all right
see,
with Sammys and Dells and Asuses. It's the other ones.
but see, what I do is that I hide my iDevices, Fruitvale devices under the bed. That's where they
Okay.
belong.
And
Okay.
they're
Yeah.
the skeletons in your cupboard, aren't they? That's why
Well,
they live.
but I don't need to come to confession because I don't pull them out.
No, exactly.
At college, we used to do some. I learned how to do some HTML editing. Notepad. That was fun as well. Creating a website.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, definitely. Have any of you played with Docs much on Android? As in Google Docs?
Google Docs.
Yeah.
I've not tried it yet.
Google Docs works well, and so does the Microsoft Word. And so I play with those. The one that doesn't work for me is the one from those guys that have Aquamail. What is it? Mobi Systems? I don't remember.
Yeah, maybe Systems do Aquamail. I don't know what their text editor is, though.
Yeah, this Office something. Yeah, I bought the Pro just to see where it's going, but no go.
Google Docs navigation for you on Android seems to be a bit odd. And it might just be it's not behaving quite as I expect it. But whenever I've tried to navigate a document, the only sensible way seems to be to set it to something like a line's granularity. And then swipe
there's
down.
been a little bit of a problem, and it's a long-standing problem, and you have to do those workarounds to make it work. But without the workarounds, it's just not too good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I don't mind doing it. Each one has their little quirks. You do what you need to do to get the app to work. I just thought it was kind of interesting that it didn't seem to quite work as I thought. I mean, yeah, like you say, it will work and it's fine and you can do it. But so you've got various different options depending on what you want to do. The other thing you want to explore as well with editors, I don't think we'll touch on it too much here, is if you're using an external keyboard, then I imagine some of them might support different keyboard shortcuts to other ones for text formatting and all the rest of it. I'm not an external keyboard guy, though, really.
Yeah.
I use the Logitech K380 with my Android device. It's quite good. It's quite snappy as well.
Yeah, that's good. Do you do much formatting with it? Do you know if any editors support better shortcuts than others, or is it just sort of a general navigation aid that you use it?
Just general navigation. If I want to type something, for example, an email.
So lots of options if you want to edit text and manipulate it on Play Store. And as I said, on Android, sorry. And as I said, if you do want to know how best to do that, do take a listen to some of our earlier episodes where we've talked about how to manipulate texts. We did that in Android Basics, and we revisited some of it in tips in later episodes as well. So this sort of segment goes very much hand in hand with those. Now we turn to this week's App of the Week. For those of you that were listening to episode 39, you'll have heard us interview Gleb from Voxmate. And this week, I demonstrate the Voxmate app. Hello, everyone. I'm Ed Green. And in this week's App of the Week, I'm going to be showing you the Voxmate app. For those of you unfamiliar with Voxmate, I suggest you listen to episode 39 of the Blind Android Users podcast, where we interviewed the Voxmate developer. Voxmate's an all-in-one platform. It enables users to navigate their Android device with a much simpler gesture set than you need in order to be able to use Talkback. It includes a number of apps for making phone calls, listening to podcasts, listening to radio stations, reading world news, playing games, interacting with certain social media platforms, as well as an audio forum. It's got an interesting backstory, a human interest story. The founder told us that his co-founder's father lost his sight, and the app was born out of frustration, really, that some of the readily available, accessible solutions didn't meet his needs. So his daughter, the co-founder and the founder, got together, created this app. One thing led to another, and here it is. It is a subscription app, albeit you can access it for a limited time for free. Currently, it's 75% off the planned retail price. It's currently in early access. And that equates to $3 something for a monthly subscription. There's an annual subscription option as well, and you'll be able to find pricing if you download the app. I have subscribed, but I've cleared the cache and storage. So I anticipate that it'll let us set it up almost from scratch. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the app.
Voxmate. Open button. Voxmate setup. Heading out of list. Read the news. Play games and stay in touch with just 4 swipes. By continuing, you agree to accept our terms of use. Begin setup button. Double tap.
So I'm just sliding my finger down the screen. Begin setup, sort of in the bottom middle.
Heading. Will you be using Voxmate yourself, or are you setting it up for someone? I'll use it. Button. I am the co-pilot. Button.
So because Voxmate is an app which relies on a simpler gesture set, it's obviously not primarily aimed at advanced Talkback users. That might mean that the primary user of Voxmate is not going to be in a position to set it up independently, which is why we have these two options. Are you going to be using it yourself, or are you, as they call it, the co-pilot? Are you essentially setting it up for someone else? I am going to be using it.
I'll use it. Button.
So I'm going to hit this button, that button. That again, both buttons are towards the bottom of the screen in the middle. The button to set this up for yourself is slightly above the other one, although they're relatively close together. So we're setting it up for me. I'm going to double tap this.
Capital V. You can change your preference later in Voxmate. Voxmate works best without Talkback, but they also work side by side if you add an extra finger to all gestures.
So what that means is you'll be familiar with the fact that you can perform certain system gestures with Talkback with 2 fingers. So for instance, to pull down the notification shade, it's 2 fingers with Talkback. That is a 1-finger swipe down for sighted users. This works in a similar fashion. It's a self-voicing app, so you can set it up without Talkback, and then you use 1 finger to perform its gestures. If you set it up with Talkback, you use 2 fingers. For now, I'm going to set it up with Talkback, but I'm going to go and change it. I'll explain why I've done that in a minute, but I am going to set it up with Talkback.
Use without Talkback button. Use with Talkback button.
And again, these buttons are they're in the middle of the screen towards the bottom. I'm on the setting it up with Talkback. That's the lower of the 2 buttons.
Capital S. Please set up step 2 of 5. Heading. Please sign in with a Google account.
So it wants me to sign in with a Google account.
Sign in with Google button.
I'm going to do that.
Double tap. Google Play Services. Choose an account. To continue to Voxmate. Edward Green. Green 1.
That's me.
Google Play Services. Voxmate setup. Setup step 2 of 5. Heading. Out of list. It can be more comfortable to grant all permissions in one go. We only ask for necessary permissions, like using your camera for scanning printed text.
There we go. So Voxmate, as I say, it can make phone calls, it can play various things, it can scan text. So it will need some permissions.
Skip for now. Grant permissions.
Grant permissions is the higher of the 2 buttons. Again, the buttons are towards the bottom in the middle of the screen. I went up from the bottom, which is why you heard skip for now. The grant permissions is the button above that. I'm going to double tap it.
Allow Voxmate to take pictures and record video while using the app.
I'm going to do that while using the app. It landed me on the while using the app button. I haven't touched anything.
Allow Voxmate to access this device's location while using the app button.
It does have a facility to scan what's around you, so I am going to allow this.
Allow Voxmate to record audio while using the app button.
As I say, it has an audio forum, so this seems a reasonable permission as well.
Allow Voxmate to access your contacts. Allow button.
It can make and manage phone calls, so I'm going to allow this.
Allow Voxmate to make and manage phone calls. Allow button.
Again, as I said, phone calls, so I'll let this happen as well.
Allow Voxmate to access your calendar. Allow button.
I'm going to allow it to access my calendar.
Allow Voxmate to access photos and media on your device. Allow button.
And I'm going to allow it to do that as well.
Voxmate.
Welcome. This is a short tutorial to show you the basics of Voxmate. To skip the tutorial, draw a counterclockwise circle on the screen. To use Voxmate, you mostly need 4 swipes, up, down, left and right.
Try swiping up. Put your finger in the middle of the screen and flick up.
So it's outlined the main 4 gestures, up, down,
Imagine
left
that
and
there is a
right.
thumb on the screen, and you are trying to brush it off with just one finger.
Try swiping up. Put your finger in the middle of the screen and flick up. Faster. Swipe up and down.
Oh, well, I'm running it with Talkback, aren't I? So 2
Try
fingers.
swiping up. Put your finger in the mid. Try swiping down. Put your finger in the middle of the screen and flick down.
I forgot how I set it up. Then I tried to use 1 finger.
Use up and down swipes to jump between items in menus.
Try swiping left. Put your finger in the middle of the screen and flick left.
So I'll flick left.
Try swiping right. Put your finger in the middle of the screen and flick right.
And I'll flick right.
Use the swipe right gesture to activate an option in menus. Use the swipe left gesture to go back. Let's try all the gestures together. Try finding banana in this menu by swiping up or down. When you find it, swipe right to activate.
Apple.
So you use up and down to navigate, right to confirm, left to back out. So I'm going to find banana, swiping down.
Orange. Mango. Banana.
And now I'm going to confirm it with the swipe right.
Try finding banana again, but this time from a submenu.
Vegetables.
Bananas aren't vegetables, so I'm going to go down.
Fruits.
Now, to enter a submenu, that's our swipe right again.
Apple. Banana.
And here's banana. And again, to confirm, as with going into a menu, it's swipe right.
Now you've got the basics to start using Voxmate. Pay attention to this sound. This sound indicates a helpful hint. Hints are repeated a number of times, but then stop. Here's your first hint. Did you know that we have more tutorials? You can find them in Settings, Help, Tutorials. Main menu. Voxmate.
Phone.
So now we are in the Voxmate app proper. You heard the first menu item is phone. I'm just going to navigate the main menu.
Entertainment. Social.
I'm doing this with our swipe down.
Games. Resources. Utilities. Early access feedback. Settings.
It's now 21 hours 47 minutes and 0 seconds.
And
There
that's
are no new messages.
that's the bottom of the main menu.
Messages and weather.
To prove that,
Phone.
I'll go down and there is phone. I'm going to go into settings first of all, partly because I want to change one of them. And the reason I loaded this to work with Talkback was that if I hadn't, once we finished the permissions, it would have warned me that Talkback was running while also trying to voice that tutorial. And we would have had the Talkback warning potentially talking over and at worst cutting off the start of that handy tutorial on how to use the app. And I wanted you to hear that tutorial. Actually using this with Talkback means that I have to add an extra finger, as we were discussing, as we did system just settings, and I forgot first time. So I'm going to go and turn that off before I forget again. And actually, I want to show you some of the other settings anyway. We'll get into the good stuff, like how the actual applets or apps work, but I do want to show you settings first, as I say, so I don't make that mistake again in part.
It's now 21.
Settings.
Here's settings. I'm going to swipe right to open settings.
Manage subscription.
I don't need to manage my subscription. I've got one.
Preferences.
Let's see what else is in settings. We'll come back up to preferences, but
Log in to portal.
I will talk about the portal in a minute.
Permissions.
We granted all the permissions. We don't need to go in there.
Plugins. Launcher.
Launcher. Now, instead of having to open Voxmate as an app, you could set it as your launcher, which essentially means that whenever you turn your phone on or unlock your phone, Voxmate is going to pop up. I don't want Voxmate as my launcher. I'm not going to set it, but you could set it in your home screen settings as well as in here. Yeah, that's what that would do. It would essentially make sure that Voxmate was always running for you.
Help.
And help. They mentioned that there were other tutorials. Those are in here, along with some FAQs.
Quit Voxmate.
And we can quit Voxmate.
Manage subscription.
And we're back round to manage subscription.
Preferences.
It's preferences that I want to go into.
Text to speech.
Let's have a look. We've got text to speech.
Touch keyboard is US QWERTY keyboard simple mode. Your device is flagship.
I'm swiping down.
Device power has implications on text-to-speech generation and might be used to optimize your experience.
Yeah, I've set mine as flagship. Basically, if you have a slower phone, Voxmate might take longer to do stuff depending on what phone setting you have it on. So you want to set it to budget or mid-range if you have a budget or mid-range phone. Say it has a scanning feature, for instance. So do you want it to take a very, very, very long time to generate a good result, or do you want an acceptable result in a quicker time? You hear Gleb, the co-founder, Gleb, the founder, talk about this on episode 39. But if you have a mid-range or a budget phone, set this setting accordingly and your phone will perform better.
Measurement unit preference is metric. Talkback compatibility mode is enabled.
This is one of the settings I want to change. I've just been...
Compatibility mode. You can use Voxmate without disabling Talkback by adding an extra finger to all gestures.
I hope I don't need to say it every time, but I've been navigating these settings by swiping down. I am going to change this though.
Enabled.
So it said enabled. I'm going to swipe down.
Disabled.
I'm going to swipe right to confirm.
Talkback compatibility mode is disabled.
And now I'm going to unload
With
Talkback.
Talkback compatibility mode, you can use Voxmate without disabling Talkback by adding an extra finger to all gestures.
Talkback off.
And Talkback's now off. So I can use one finger and not forget that I needed to put two on.
Tap and hold to pause gesture is disabled.
I'm going to swipe
Tap
down
and
again.
hold your finger will pause Voxmate.
Haptic feedback is enabled. Visuals. Text to speech.
I'm going to go and look at the text-to-speech settings because I want to show you something in here I got confused about when I first downloaded Voxmate.
Change voices. Voice speed is normal. Normal.
So I swiped right to go into the speech rate. I made two mistakes. The first is I assumed normal meant that I could decrease and increase the speed. I thought that normal was in the middle. Actually, normal means slowest, and it's at the top of the menu. So because I thought normal was in the middle, I swiped up to increase the speech. But bear in mind, I'm at the top of the menu already. So what it actually did, it wrapped and put it on the highest speech setting possible. I'll show you what happened. I'm on normal. I swiped up thinking I would increase speed.
4x.
So 4x, 4 times the speech, and I swiped right. Quick, right? Happily, I can still understand it, so I can go in and fix it. I'm going to swipe right. You might not have understood. It said that we were back on voice speed. It's on normal. I swiped down. I'm going to swipe right again.
Voice speed is normal.
To set it back to something we can understand. Now I'm going to swipe right.
Normal.
And I'm going to cycle through the different options for speeding this up. And you do that by swiping down. I won't set any of them. I'll just show you what they are.
Rapid. Fast. Faster. Double. Quick, triple, insane, 4x.
Now, I'm not wild about these. I get double, 4x, triple. I don't know how you decide which out of quick, rapid, and fast are quickest. Obviously, faster is faster than fast, if that's not getting a bit too circular. But I'm not convinced about some of those names that aren't numbers. I don't think they readily form a hierarchical rank. But anyway, you're swiping down. It's getting quicker. Just ignore the names. I'm going to swipe left because I want to keep it on normal.
Voice speed is normal.
Now, I'm going to carry on looking down in these text-to-speech settings.
Network use is unrestricted.
I'm happy with network use is unrestricted.
Network use, if enabled, but may provide a worse speech.
Oh dear. Well, that wouldn't be very good. I'm on unlimited data connection, so I don't really care. Let's go and see what the options are. I'm going to swipe right.
Unrestricted. Restricted. Unrestricted.
Oh, well, we have unrestricted and restricted. I'm going to swipe left.
Network use is unrestricted. Change voices.
And this will show you any other text-to-speech voices that you have on your system. I'm happy with using the voice we're currently using.
Voice speed is normal.
Now, I want to show you something else. So we're quite deep in here. We're in text-to-speech. Well, we're in settings, text-to-speech, voice. I'm going to go into speed again, just to get us even deeper. Now, I could swipe left on multiple occasions, and I will do that clockwise circle, and we'll get a context-sensitive help.
Help.
You are in the text-to-speech settings menu. If you select text-to-speech options that break your experience, you can reset your settings at my.voxmate.com.
So that was the portal we heard about before, and that's what I could have done if I couldn't understand the thing when it was on 4 times speech. To get back to that Voxmate main menu, you draw an anti-clockwise circle on the screen, a counterclockwise. So that's to say, if you start at 6 o'clock, you go right towards 3 o'clock and all the way around. I'll do that.
Voxmate.
Phone.
There you go, straight back to the main menu instead of having to go into swiping left into speech rate, into text to speech, into settings, blah, blah, blah. Three or four swipes, we've saved ourselves there. I know what you're thinking, those of you that used Android for a long time. Oh dear, we used to do this and Talkback abandoned them because they were a nightmare. We used to navigate menus in circles, didn't we? Back in, I don't know, Jelly Bean, ice cream sandwich. Happily, screens are a lot more forgiving. So we're on the phone app now. I'm going to swipe right.
Phone book.
So phone book is our contacts. Let's have a look at here.
AAA.
1 of 422.
Adrian Cochran. Adrian Cochran. Adrian Whitehouse. Ira Support. Al Rosenbaum. Al Rosenbaum. Alan Lewis. Alan Lewis.
9 of 422.
So there we are. We're in contacts. I'm going to go back up.
Al, Ira, Adrian, triple.
Add new contact. Search.
So we have search now. I am going to swipe right.
Use the double tap and hold command to search for your contact.
So let's see if it'll find a contact. My wife's called Katie Kins.
Use the double tap and hold command to search for your contact.
So I store her as Kins for short because Katie Kins is long. Kins.
Searching for Kins. Kins.
1 of 4.
So it's found Kins. That's good. What I find when I do double tap and search, double tap and hold to search, is you get the familiar Google Assistant type noise when you do that. I find it slightly better if you keep your finger held on the screen until you hear the second noise that you heard after I said Kins. Well, the first noise is the trigger noise. I say Kins. Then you heard a second sort of confirmatory noise. Then I released my finger. I don't know if I'm meant to have to do that. What I find though is if I don't, it's not always reliable. So if I release my finger from the screen immediately after having said my contact name or in other search functions, I find it doesn't always work. So yeah, I keep my finger down on the screen until I've heard that confirmatory noise. We found Kins. I'm going to swipe right.
Call Kins.
I can call her. What else can I do?
Star contact.
I can star her as a favorite.
Change contact name.
I could change her name.
Add additional phone number.
Add another phone number.
Delete phone number.
Delete.
Delete contact.
And I could delete her. I don't think she'd be very impressed if I did that.
Call Kins.
So if I swipe right here.
1. Call home.
+1 6.
So it's reading her number.
Call work.
+4 4.
Call Kins.
So there we go. You'll see that it reads numbers if you give it long enough, and then, as you'd expect, you swipe right to call that number. I'm not repeating the gestures every time I do something unless I'm doing something different, because I hope we've established that it's 4 gestures in the main, up, down, left and right. So I'm not telling you that I'm swiping right, otherwise it would get somewhat repetitive. I'm going to come out of the phone book now.
Search. Phone book.
I'm going to go down.
Dial a phone number.
And here we go.
Use up, down, left and right to go around the dial pad. Double tap to pick numbers and symbols. 5.
So I think they've done quite well here. We're essentially in a grid or on a virtual keypad. We're on the 5, we're on the button with the dot in it. I'll see if we've got any context-sensitive help. Might be interesting. I don't know if it'll tell us any more than we've already heard, but I'm going to do that clockwise circle on the screen.
Help.
Use up, down, left and right to go around the dial pad. Double tap to pick numbers and symbols. To undo input, use the erase button at the bottom left corner of the grid. To finish input, use the submit button at the bottom right corner of the grid. You can check your current input by swiping down with 2 fingers.
So there we go. I'm going to come out of help with a swipe left.
5.
The other thing we can do to get out of this, well, I'll move around the grid first. We're on 5.
2.
I swiped up to get to 2. I'll swipe right.
3.
I'll swipe left twice.
2. 1.
And so you can see what we're doing. I'll swipe down from 1.
4. 7. Star.
On this row, we've got star
0. Hash.
and hash.
0. Star.
I'll go back.
Back.
That's the erase button.
Plus.
There's your plus if you're doing an international number.
Enter more digits, then double tap here to continue.
And we can exit this grid if we swipe off any of the edges of it. So we're in the bottom right-hand corner. So if I swipe right,
Enter more digits, then dial a phone number.
you'll see we've gone off that grid entirely. We're back on dial a phone number.
Phone book.
And we've got a phone book there.
Dial of settings.
We have phone settings. Let's have a look at these.
Make Voxmate your default dialer. Order contacts by last name is disabled. Group contacts by first letter is disabled. Make Voxmate your default dialer.
And so we have some ordering contacts options, and we can make Voxmate the default dialer. I don't want to do that. I'm going to swipe left to get out of the phone app.
Settings.
Phone.
Here we go. Let's go down 1.
Entertainment.
Let's have a look at the entertainment app then.
World news.
Let's see what world news sources we've got.
Pick which publication you would like to read.
Sky News. Daily Mail.
Just swiping down.
HuffPost UK. The Independent. The Sun. Daily Mirror. Metro Online. Daily Star. New York Post. Mashable. CNET. Observer. Fast Company. Rolling Stone. CNBC. The Verge. Vox. Fox News. NBC News. News.com.a. The Indian Express. Slate. Forward. Reuters. Chicago Tribune. ABC. CBS News. The Hill. Politico. Breitbart.
I think before, when I cut off one of them, it was going to say news.com.au, but I was a little bit zealous swiping down, and I cut off the .au. So sorry about that.
Search.
We can search.
Settings.
Some settings.
Sky News. Daily Mail. HuffPost UK. The Independent. The Sun.
Let's read an article from The Sun then. So guess what we're going to do? We're on The Sun. What do you think I'm going to do? That's right, folks. Top of the class, have a cigar. I'm swiping right.
All articles. Football.
Let's read about football. You can't go wrong doing that, can you? I'll swipe right.
Manchester United star Cristiano Ronaldo planning his own ready meals range.
What?
QPR star Chris Willock dreaming of joining Newcastle brother Joe in the Premier League.
2 of 100.
So Chris Willock, he used to play for my team, Huddersfield Town, on loan. I'm slightly disappointed they didn't sign him, but I might have a check out of this article. I'm going to swipe right.
Cooper's Chris Willock is dreaming of joining his brother Joe in the Premier League. Youngest of 3 Joe, 22. Took the spotlight by sealing a £25 million move to Newcastle from Arsenal this summer.
Figure. Chris wants to emulate his brother by playing in the Premier League. Credit. Rex. Figure. Joe signed for Newcastle in the summer transfer window.
I'm just letting it read at the minute.
Figure. Joe signed for Newcastle in the summer transfer window. Credit. Rex.
But I stopped it by doing a swipe up. I can read this article in smaller increments using our up and down swipes. So I'll swipe down.
And after watching him score in 7 consecutive Premier League games on loan at Newcastle last term, winger Chris is now making his mark at QPR. 2 goals and 2 assists already this season have helped Mark Warburton's side to third in the Championship, behind big spenders Fulham and West Brom. The 23-year-old told Sunsport, "My dream is to play in the Premier League, and Joe always encourages me and believes I'm good enough." Coming from him, it goes a long way because he has been there and done it. From young kids, the dream was always to play with each other or play against each other. Hopefully one day that can happen.
So I'll swipe left.
To the trio, QPR star Chris Wood dreaming of joining Newcastle brother Joe in the Premier League.
So if any of you have
100.
dealt with those big ugly news sites, you can see that this is really quite a neat way to find articles. I mean, this is before we even get into the ads and the frames and all the other nonsense that you might find in articles themselves that you might use if you're using them in Windows, something like a JAWS flexible web to kill. You know, even finding the articles you want can be a bit of a mission on sites with 250 plus links. So something that pops up many of the popular news sites in what is essentially a list, and then just reads those articles to you and strips most of them out, with the exception of those little pictures, those figures, is, I think, something that people may find useful. As I say, this app is not necessarily, or this platform, sorry, Voxmate, is not necessarily aimed at the advanced Android user, but even the advanced Android user might welcome the simplicity that the news app offers. I'm going to come out of here.
Football. The Sun. World News.
So that was world news. I'm going to go down.
Listen to audiobooks.
Let's listen to audiobooks.
Librivox audiobooks.
So Librivox is a public domain catalogue of audiobooks recorded by volunteers, as I understand it.
Calibre audiobooks.
Calibre is a UK-based library. It's of interest to others, though, because it will allow users from countries which have signed and ratified the Marrakesh Treaty on the distribution of books for the visually impaired. It will allow users to join directly to benefit from its download and streaming services. Now, Marrakesh is really only about libraries exchanging information and books, but Calibre have sort of very sensibly, in my view, cut out that middleman, so NLS don't need to act as your Calibre distributor. If you're in the States, you can sign up for Calibre's digital and downloads service, which I think is very good. I haven't set Calibre up on here, but I will show you Librivox.
Librivox audiobooks.
My bookshelf. Browse books by genre. Search.
I don't really know what Librivox has. I know it's a public domain limited thing, so I'm not gonna search or anything. I'll browse a book there and see what we want to do with it.
Browse books by
Classics, Greek and Latin antiquity.
Crikey, classics, Greek and Latin antiquity. Okay, let's have a look at this.
All in classics, Greek and Latin antiquity. Asian antiquity. All in classics, Greek and Latin antiquity.
Okay, let's go in here.
Loading. Please wait. The Acharnians by Aristophanes.
1 of 300.
Okay, let's see if we can do anything with this one by Aristophanes.
Play sample.
Oh, we can. Here we go.
Synopsis. Details. Add to my bookshelf.
I'm going to add it to my bookshelf
Play sample.
on the basis that we can't actually play it unless I do that.
Add to my bookshelf. Add to my bookshelf.
So this is interesting. It doesn't tell me that it's done it. It just says add to my bookshelf again. But
Place add to
if
my
I try and
bookshelf.
add it to my bookshelf again,
Already on your bookshelf.
already on my
Add to my
bookshelf. I
bookshelf.
think a confirmation there, or that changes to added to bookshelf or something would be quite helpful. All I got was a little bing without anything else. So let's go play it, shall we?
All in classics, free
It doesn't
download.
sound fantastically interesting, if I'm honest. So I don't know how long it'll stay on my bookshelf.
Classics, Greek, and
Browse books by genre.
Browse books by genre. I think that was the second option. So I'm going to swipe up to my bookshelf.
My bookshelf.
Yeah, I'll swipe right.
The Acharnians by Aristophanes.
There we go. Let's have a little play, or swipe right anyway, see what it does.
Start listening.
What are my options? I can start listening.
Start listening with sleep timer.
Start listening with sleep timer. I think I'll fall asleep pretty quickly during this. 3 seconds. Is that a sleep timer we want for Aristophanes?
Play from specific section. Synopsis. Details. Remove from bookshelf. Start listening.
We'll start listening.
During playback, swipe right for more options.
Preface and introduction to the Acharnians. This is a Librivox recording. All Librivox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit librivox.org. Recording by Expatriate in Bangor, Maine. The Acharnians by Aristophanes. Translated by Charles James Bilson, 1858 to 1932. Translator's preface and introduction.
You are listening to section 1 of 4, preface and introduction.
Sleep timer.
I think you've got the point. So we've got our sleep timer again.
Go to beginning of this section. Go to next section. Set playback speed. Sleep timer.
And so that's what we have. We're back round again. So I'm going to swipe left repeatedly out of audiobooks.
Production.
Continue listening. The Acharnians.
My bookshelf.
Librivox audiobook. Listen to audiobooks.
And there we go.
Browse YouTube.
I'm not going to browse YouTube. I think you get the idea as to how this works. I will look at some of the other ones though.
Music on my phone.
I don't have any music on my phone, so that would be a short-lived demonstration.
Listen to podcasts.
Listen to podcasts.
My favorites. Featured podcasts.
Featured podcasts.
Top podcasts. Top podcasts by category. Search. Top podcasts.
Now, I'm not sure what we're using as a podcast directory here or how many podcasts it has access to. I'll look at top podcasts. As I say, I'm not sure how this is done. Is it done through users of Voxmate or is it some other thing? I'm not sure. I'm going to swipe right and see what we've got in top podcasts.
Stuff you should know.
1 of 50.
This American Life.
2 of 50.
Serial.
3 of 50.
Fresh Air.
4 of 50.
There you go. So some pretty famous mainstream podcasts in here. I'm going to come out.
Top podcasts.
I'll go up.
Featured podcasts.
Let's see what's in featured podcasts.
Blind Android users.
Oh, now here you go.
1 of 2.
Here's a podcast you want to know about. Blind Android users. Why don't we have a look at this?
Blind Android users podcast episode 39. Don't touch the dial and chat with Voxmate.
What?
Introduction, the Android journey.
40 of 40.
So why don't we, instead of playing the latest episode, why don't we play Blind Android Users episode 1, albeit it appears to be unnumbered, but let's just forget that. I swiped up, so it wrapped. I do wonder whether a little rapping noise might be quite nice when we get to the end of a menu, a little didding or something to let us know that we have in fact cycled round. I'm going to swipe right to play episode 1. This predates me. I don't think I came on board till about 12 or 13, albeit I'd done my Android journey before then. Here we go.
During playback, swipe right for more options.
Oh, bless, the music's changed.
It is time for the Blind Android Users podcast from blindandroidusers.com. Kick back and enjoy this podcast from a blindness perspective.
Hi everyone, welcome to episode number 1 of the Blind Android Users podcast. My name is Austin Pinto, and I'm from Mumbai, India. And today we have two other hosts with me. And everyone, welcome Warren Carr.
Thank you so much, Austin, for that wonderful introduction. Again, my name is Warren Carr.
And Dennis Long. Hello, Warren. How are you? And welcome to the show.
So if I swipe right, I don't know why there's a sleep timer option for the Blind Android Users podcast. There's no danger of anyone going to sleep. You know, if you start listening to this, you're up till it's done. So I think somehow for this podcast and this podcast only, they need to find a way of disabling the sleep timer feature just because it's entirely gratuitous. Can something be entirely gratuitous? It probably can't. It's just gratuitous, isn't it? I think I fell into tautology there. I'm sorry about that. But yes, I think we can all agree you don't need a sleep timer when listening to Blind Android Users. Let's swipe down.
Podcast details.
I don't know what they are. Let's go see what's in podcast details.
About 42 minutes and 6 seconds remaining of the introduction, The Android Journey.
I like
listening to Blind Android Users podcast.
I'm doing well. Thank you so much.
Sleep timer.
I like the fact it said there were about 42 minutes and 6 seconds. It's pretty precise for an about. Anyway, I'll swipe down.
Podcast details. Playback speed. Restart playback. Add podcast channel to favorites.
So we can add Blind Android Users to favorites. That must be done.
Added podcast to favorites.
Obviously, you'll all want to do that. And I swiped right to shut it up. I could have equally swiped left. We'll swipe left again to get out of podcasts.
Here today, introduction, the Blind Android Users featured podcasts.
Let's just check it did add it to my favorites.
My favorite, continue, my favorites. Blind Android Users my favorites. Continue listening.
Oh, we have a new option that didn't used to exist, a continue listening option, which is quite good. And that's in our main podcast menu now, so very handy.
Listen to podcasts. Tune into radio.
Tune into radio. Let's go and have a little look at this.
Pick which radio station you would like to listen to. Browse local stations.
Let's see what options I've got.
Search for stations. Settings. Browse local stations.
Well, let's see what we've got in settings.
Grouping stations is disabled.
No.
Grouping stations is disabled.
Grouping stations is disabled. I'm not.
To group stations into a menu-like structure. Useful when you have a lot of stations.
Okay. I'm going to swipe left.
Settings. Browse local stations.
Aberdeen.
1 of 6.
Aberystwyth. Ashkirk.
So what it's done is pulled up various UK towns, or in some instances it'll be counties. Given that our only options are local stations, search and settings, I wonder whether they need to have that local stations at a bit of a higher level, because people don't just want to listen to stations in the country they live in. They want to listen to stations from around the world. So I wonder if you're going to have local stations, maybe you need some other geography thing where I can pick Europe, North America, Australasia, and have it drill down there. I think only having search and then parochial towns is, perhaps they can add some stuff in time. It is early access and it's looking really good, obviously. So we're on a search again. I'll swipe right.
Use the double tap and hold command to search.
I'll do a double tap and hold. Oh, that didn't sound like it worked. Let me try that again.
Searching for. Sound like it worked when you try that again.
Oh, maybe it
Nothing
did.
Found.
It just
Search
didn't.
for stations. Use the double tap.
I didn't get
and
the
hold command to
typical Google Assistant type beep I got last time. BBC.
Searching for. BBC. BBC Radio 1.
1 of 49.
BBC Radio 5 Live.
2 of 49.
BBC World Service News.
3 of 49.
Let's see if we can play World Service News.
During playback, swipe right for track info.
Very recently, a former head of the MI5 intelligence
There you
service.
go. I'll swipe
Check
right.
track details. Set sleep timer.
Listen to BBC World Service News. Add to favorites.
We can add it.
Move to the top of favorites.
Check track details.
Oh, so that's quite good. You can add it to favorites and you can reorder your favorites by moving things to the top. That's quite neat. I'm going to swipe left.
Okay, Eliza.
BBC World.
Search for stations.
Tune into radio. World News.
And we finished our tour of entertainment apps. I'll swipe out of this.
Entertainment. Social. Game. Social. Audio forum. Telegram.
So we'll look at audio forum in a minute. Let's go into Telegram.
Use the numpad grid to enter your full international phone number, starting with your country code. Use up, down, left, and right to go around the dial pad. Double tap to pick numbers and symbols.
Nearly done. I'm just using the grid as we did on the dialer. It's the same setup. You navigate left and right around the numpad, across the numpad, and then in vertical lines.
You should soon receive an authorization code by Telegram message. Use the numpad grid to enter the 5-digit auth code.
And I'll
double
just
tap to
continue.
Kilo screen reader. Official, etc.
Permanently muted group with 5,196 unread messages.
Wowzers. So I'm in my groups.
Telegram.
Chat with one unread message.
Blind Android users chat.
Group with one unread message and one mention.
So if I swipe right.
Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
This is a live tile. New messages will be announced here. Swipe right to compose new text message, or double tap and hold to begin recording a voice message. Send emoji. Share location with the group. Mute group. Pin group. Add group member. Leave group. Leave group. Leave group.
Oh, so that's kind of interesting.
Share send emoji. This is a live tile.
Hello, good evening.
Musa Mwambu 2 hours ago. Musa Mwambu 2 hours. Musa Mwambu 2.
Blind Android. I don't think that this one falls in that category, Drago. This would be like saying we can talk about new pipe or blind Android users.
So
chat.
what happens here is that, unlike in other areas, so on the speed thing, when we were changing voice speed, essentially we were landed at the top. In Telegram, when it lands you in the most recent message, that is at the bottom. So you swipe up to read your Telegram messages within a group or a chat. And you swipe down, as you heard it say, a live tile. I had swiped down, expecting maybe that's how you move through the messages, thinking it would land you at the top of the window. So you swipe up to read your messages, starting the most recent, moving up, getting earlier and earlier. Let's see what happens.
Hello, good evening.
I don't think that this one falls.
I'm going to swipe right to see if it'll let me reply to it.
This would
Warren Carr 2 hours ago replying to an earlier message by Dragos.
reply.
So I can reply to Warren.
Read original message. Message parts.
Warren Carr 2 hours ago replying to an earlier
And I could
message
read
by
the
Dragos.
original message from there. So you get the idea.
Blind Android users chat. Austin Pinto. Podcast crew.
I've got all my Telegram messages in there.
Reddit.
I'm not on Reddit, so I don't think I can show you Reddit.
Audio forum.
I will show you the audio forum though. Let's swipe right to see what this does.
Voxmate forum is an audio forum where everyone can find help related to Voxmate, get support, and just have a meaningful chat. Here we create a sense of belonging. Before we begin, let's go through some ground rules. Rule 1. Be respectful. Voxmate forum is a place for developing a strong community, not for attacking or humiliating people. Stay respectful even with people who don't agree with you. Everyone has a right to have a forum free of bullying, harassment, or threats. Rule 2. Be authentic. You don't have to use your real name to be on forum, but don't impersonate an individual or an entity. A nickname is automatically generated for you, but you can always change it in settings. Rule 3. Be inclusive. Tolerate and welcome various people and opinions. Rule 4. Respect the privacy of others. Do not reveal anyone's personal or confidential information, and don't be intrusive.
We have a variety of ways of enforcing our rules, including, but not limited to, reminding you nicely to follow them. If that doesn't work, we can ask you less nicely, and then suspend your account temporarily or permanently. That said, on behalf of the Voxmate team, a heartfelt welcome. Swipe right to accept the community rules.
Okay, you heard the rules. Let's swipe right.
Topics.
Meet and greet.
Say hi to the Voxmate team and other Voxmate users. 10 new threads.
Swipe
Swipe
down.
right to open this topic.
Voxmate help.
Ask anything you want to know about Voxmate. 12 new threads.
Technology.
Let's chat about technology and how it can make our lives better. 1 new thread.
Request new features.
Got an idea for a new Voxmate feature? We're listening. 17 new threads.
Fun.
Got anything fun and light to share? 6 new threads.
Personal growth.
Become the best possible version of yourself. 7 new threads.
I'm already amazing. There's nothing for me in there.
This top.
General chat.
Got something else on your mind? Tell us. 4 new threads.
General chat.
Got some
General
Yeah,
chat.
so interesting.
something else on your mind? Tell us. 4 new threads.
You'll notice that behavior on Telegram as well.
Swipe right to open
It
this
didn't
topic.
wrap,
Double tap for options.
whereas it does in the main menu and in other apps. I wonder why that is. Anyway, not particularly a big deal. Let's go
Personal
and
fun. Request
see what
technology.
can
Voxmate
happen in
help.
here.
Ask
Let's look at request
new
features.
threads in request new features.
New audio thread by Stupefied Beaver.
Swipe right to open this thread. Double tap for options. Swipe up to start a new thread.
I'll swipe up and see what it does.
Start a new thread in request new features.
I'm going to swipe right.
Use the double tap and hold gesture to begin recording, or swipe right to open text editor.
We haven't looked at the text editor yet, so I'm going to swipe right and see how that
Use the
works.
double tap and you're in the text editor. Swipe up and down for editor options. Double tap and hold to narrate text. Swipe down and right to open keyboard. To jump between words, swipe left and right. Double tap to finish editing. Edit.
So I'm going to swipe up.
Open keyboard. Paste. Editor settings. Insert emoji. Insert bracket. Insert symbol. Open keyboard.
So let's open the keyboard with a swipe right.
Showing keyboard in landscape. Charge port to your right.
Okay.
F.
F.
D.
FD.
Okay, so what we have here then is something a little bit like Gboard insofar as you slide your finger around and lift it to have a letter entered. I wonder how I get rid of the keyboard.
K.
FDJ.
Comma.
FD.
I. U. K.
FDJ mate.
Interesting. I'm not sure how we dismiss the keyboard.
Dot. E. W. Close.
Ah,
Open keyboard.
so with the charge port to the right, there was a close button where the escape key might be presumed to be. I'm going to open the keyboard again because I don't think that saved my text. I wonder if there's some sort of submit button once I've entered some text.
Showing
FDJ mate.
keyboard in landscape. Charge port to your right.
Maybe here's a time to see if there's any context-sensitive help.
Comma.
Not on the keyboard itself, there isn't.
Backspace. Number space. M. N. B. V. C. X. Z. Shift. Emoji close. Q. W. E. R. T. W. I. O. P. Backspace. Back.
So we've got a close button. I think this is probably prime time for a keyboard help or a help gesture. Let's have a look.
Help.
You're in the text editor. Swipe up and down for editor options. Double tap and hold to narrate text. Swipe down and right to open keyboard. To jump between words, swipe left and right. Double tap to finish editing.
So that's what I would have had to do. Double tap to finish editing. That would have got us out of the keyboard, I think. and then the close button in the top right-hand corner. So there you have it. We've done a double tap and hold to record when we did a search. I don't think I need to show you that again. So I'm now going to swipe out of here.
FDJ make.
Start. Start a new thread and request new features.
And closing the keyboard did just that. It kept the text I entered in the text editor. So it didn't, in fact, lose it. I just got rid of the keyboard. I could have double tapped instead of pressing that escape key, I think. So there you have it. That's the audio forum.
Request new features. Audio forum. Telegram. Reddit.
I don't think I can reasonably play any messages in there. They are for users of Voxmate. I'm going to come out of here.
Social. Games.
I'm not a massive games player, but let's take a look at what's in here.
Game Club. Play Voxville Early Access. Play Sudoku. Play Mathdoku. Play Quiz. Play Blackjack. Game Club.
What's Game Club?
Play. Please pick a new nickname. You're in the text editor. Swipe up and down for editor options.
No, I don't think I'm going to do that. I don't want to set up
a profile.
Game Club.
I don't want to set up Game Club. Why don't I have a look at the quiz
with
game?
people online.
Play Voxville or play Sudoku. Play Mathdoku. Play Quiz.
I'm going to play Quiz.
New game of Quiz.
You have 3 lives. Question 1 video games.
What was Frank West's job in Dead Rising?
Chef.
So I have some choices.
Janitor. Photojournalist.
I have no idea. I'm going to go photojournalist.
That's right.
Question 2 history.
In 1453, which important city fell?
Athens. Hamburg. Rome. Hamburg.
I'm going to go Hamburg.
That's not the right answer.
I knew
I'm
it
afraid
wasn't.
the right answer is Constantinople.
Oh.
You have 2 lives left. Question 3 computers.
What does CPU stand for?
Central
Computer
Processing
Personal
Unit.
Central Processing Unit.
There we are.
I'm sorry, that's wrong.
Oh no, processor.
Central Processing Unit.
Yeah, it said
You
processor,
have
not
just 1
ing.
life left.
There we go.
Question 4 musicals and theatres.
Doctor Who. Star David Tennant performed in a rendition of which Shakespearean play?
The
But-
Taming of the Shrew.
You get the idea. You can swipe down for answers. You swipe right to select them. So I'm going to swipe out of here.
Continue to play quiz, games, resources.
And now we're on resources. Again, I'm going to swipe right to see what we've got.
The Knowledge Village. Coronavirus pandemic. The Knowledge Village.
Not many resources, although the Knowledge Village could be quite extensive, I suppose. I'm not going to read about the coronavirus pandemic, but let's swipe right to look at Knowledge Village.
COVID-19.
The COVID-19 pandemic is impacting lives across the globe.
Yeah, swipe
Our
down.
role is
Apps.
Whether you want to read your post, navigate independently, access books, or do your shopping, there are accessible apps out there that will enable you to do all this and more.
Technology.
Technology is a game changer for people with sight loss, and with the right training can restore independence.
I'll swipe right.
Google Chromebook. Is it accessible? Blog.
In this blog, Mark shares tips on what Henshaws are doing to support the Greater Manchester Digital Task Force.
So I think this Knowledge Village is all from Henshaw's, judging by some of the other things I've read on it. So you can swipe right and you can read it a little bit like the articles we read in the newsreader.
Technology.
I'm
The
going to
knowledge
come out of
resources.
here.
Utilities.
Let's have a look at what's in utilities.
Make notes. What's nearby?
Let's have a look at what's nearby.
Gwendor Gardens.
202 meters away. 1 of 50.
Independent Age.
215 meters away. 2 of 50.
North End. Fulham.
228 meters away. 3 of 50.
West Kensington Tube Station.
237 meters away. 4 of 50.
West Kensington.
246 meters away.
Society for Psychical Research.
269 meters.
West Ashfield Tube Station.
294 meters away. 7 of 50.
So some of this is a bit wonky. There's no such thing as West Ashfield Tube Station for a start. And all these distances seem suspiciously similar. So I'm not quite sure what's going on. Perhaps, well, I don't know. I don't think I can explain it. I know that location accuracy is purported to be better with Wi-Fi enabled for reasons I don't fully understand. I don't use my phone on Wi-Fi because I have unlimited data, so I may as well exploit it.
Kensington Row.
302 meters away.
Barons Court Theatre.
414 meters.
Pure London.
432.
Radio Olympia.
432.
You get the idea. It has landmarks with distances. They're in a column, so that's. I'm going to go back in here and see if we can swipe right on any of them and see what they do.
Independent Age. Wendover Gardens. North End. West Kensington.
I'm going to swipe right.
West Kensington is a London Underground District Line station in West Kensington. It is located on North End Road B317, close to its junction with West Cromwell Road, Talgarth Road A4.
That's quite helpful. I'm going to see what this tube station that I don't think exists says about it.
West Kensington, Society for Kensington Row. West Kensington, West Ashfield Tube Station.
There it is. Let's have a look at West Ashfield. Oh, it's moved 20 meters.
West Ashfield Underground Station is a mock-up London Underground District Line station on the 3rd floor of Ashfield House in West Kensington.
Ah!
It is used for staff training purposes and was opened in 2010 at a cost of £800,000.
So that probably wants to be described differently to a tube station in case anyone tries to go find it. It does exist, though, which I didn't know, but it possibly shouldn't be listed in the straight vanilla way that West Kensington Tube Station is, as I say, in case anyone thinks it's a tube stop. So this is interesting. It's a column of information. I'm not immediately sure. Perhaps it's because it's early access. Perhaps they will do more things with this in future.
West Ashfield Underground Station is a mock-up London West.
I don't appear to be able to put a beacon on it or anything, or, it tells me how far it is and it tells me what road it's on, but I don't get a sense from these landmarks as to where they are in relation to me or where they are in relation to each other. But it's interesting. You can certainly see some of the things that are around you. So I'm going to come out of that.
Utilities, early access feedback.
Oh, I didn't mean to come out of utilities entirely.
What's near scan text?
So scan text. I don't have any text with me right now, but I'm going to open scan text and see what it does.
New scan. My scans.
So I'm swiping down. We had new scan, my scans.
Help. New scan.
And help. I will draw us a circle on the screen.
There's no contextual help available right now.
Okay, so let's go into the help that is there.
The scanner uses your built-in camera to scan printed text. When scanning books or documents, you can place the phone on the document, align it and lift about half a meter up. When scanning printed text on household goods, try holding it at arm's length in front of the camera. It's important to align the camera upright with the text, so if you are getting bad results, try rotating the camera.
There we are.
Help. Scan text. Make notes. What's nearby? Scan text. Make notes.
And we'll open the notes app, I think. I think this will take us back to the text editor, but let's have a look.
Record a new voice note. Make a new text note. Record a new voice.
Use the double tap and hold gesture to begin recording.
So we've done that when we search for stations. I think that's demonstrating the same principle. I don't need to do that.
Record and make a new text. You're in the text editor. Swipe up and down for editor options. Double tap and hold to narrate text. Swipe down and right to open keyboard. Open keyboard.
And so there we are. Yeah, it's same as when we were looking at the keyboard before.
Make notes. What's nearby?
And that's it for utilities.
Utilities. Early access feedback.
And we can provide feedback on this early access on this beta. Let's swipe right.
Record a message to send to our feedback team.
Use the double tap and hold gesture to begin recording.
And there we are. That's early access.
Settings.
We've been in settings,
It's now 22.
and we're back round to phone. So that, folks, is a brief tour of the Voxmate app. We haven't covered absolutely everything that the app can do. I hope, though, you found this useful and it's given you a flavour of this app's capability. As I say, it's primarily aimed at people who struggle to use the Talkback interface, but I think I would argue that apps such as the World News and possibly also the Telegram layout would benefit those who are very confident at using the touchscreen. But, you know, we've had various discussions on lists and on groups about problematic web view implementations. And given the array of news sources in the World News app, then this might actually be an option for some of those who are very confident in using Talkback. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and do check out the app. It's a project I think well worth supporting. The Voxmix portal is quite handy because it enables you to configure Voxmate from a Windows environment, or indeed any other operating system via a website. So you could theoretically do it on your Android phone, I suppose. It's good because it means that someone else can configure Voxmate for someone who's struggling, and that includes Voxmate themselves. They will configure your Voxmate remotely. So to find the Voxmate portal, you go to my.voxmate.com and you log in with your Google account and take it from there.
No, unfortunately, Voxmate is not available in India. So
Sorry,
I've
Warren.
contacted Voxmate supports, and they have said they are launching it shortly.
Does it allow to use apps more accessibly?
So the whole idea is to make your usage of the phone a whole lot easier, and it's absolutely beautiful for people who are just getting started and, you know, don't want to be bothered by a lot of the different things that we have to go through on Android or whatever. And so the whole concept is just that swipe, baby, swipe. All it takes is those 4 swipes, you know, up, down, left, or right. And that's the crux of the matter with Voxmate. Gleb is working hard to bring more apps and more features to it. But I do want to mention here in passing, though, that one should not, that's my recommendation, is that one should not choose to use the launcher, because if you use that launcher, you're not going to see your home screen as you know it. So think of it like you're using like a file browser of some sort. And so you're going to see all your apps. Like, for instance, if you go to your system settings and apps, and then you decide to see all apps, that's what you're going to see. So it's not, I don't recommend using the launcher for the time being.
One of the things that surprised me about Voxmate a little bit was the approach they took to the keyboard. Because in a world where you're swiping up, down, left, and right, and having to do definite things to confirm actions like swiping right, like double tap and holding, they went for a keyboard which flipped your phone from portrait to landscape and which involved a lift to type input method. I thought that was quite brave.
Yeah, the keyboard input is a little different. You know, putting you in landscape mode, and I don't know why they chose that, but probably if it were up to me, I probably wouldn't have gone that route. I'd just leave it in portrait mode.
But I'd have also gone double tap input too. I wouldn't have gone lift to type for the sorts of users they're targeting, I don't think.
Yeah.
You know, nothing else is lift to type. The dialer isn't.
No. Maybe that's something we should have talked with Gleb about, but you know, of course,
I didn't know. I hadn't played with it by then.
I didn't even look into that. You know,
no, I didn't. I only played with it later. Yeah, I thought that was an awfully brave implementation. It's like, oh, I don't actually know what's going on. What on earth has happened?
And it's just very interesting. So
yeah,
it's there.
Yeah, no, you know, it was fine. I worked out what it did, and I closed it. I wasn't quite sure because it had a close button where the escape button would normally be. So it took me a little while to work out when I hit that Did it discard the text or did it keep the text?
That is true. It could be a little bit daunting for someone who's not familiar to find where that close button is. And then another thing that I would have loved to see come to Voxmate is that to quit Voxmate, one does not need to go into that settings to go, click on the quit Voxmate. It should be there in the main UI. Yeah.
Needs a gesture. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. But no, it is good. Do support it. It's a great project. It's got a real human interest backstory to it. They're doing amazing things. They're really responsive. So, and if you do, and I think I say in the demo that even for power users, some of the things are really good, particularly something like the Telegram client. It's a really productive way to use Telegram. And it doesn't have some of the annoying features that the main Telegram client has, like what do you want to do when all the audio recordings start playing? And if you're listening on one speaker and it automatically starts you recording a Telegram message and all the other little quirks that are perfectly navigable, but, are just wrinkles of the main Telegram client. The Voxmate one is cleaner.
And it's good for reading those news articles as well, if you're someone who likes reading
clean
news articles. And of course, our podcast is there, the featured podcast.
I know. I don't know why there's a sleep timer on our podcast, though. No one needs a sleep timer for the blind Android users. It just ain't a thing, is it?
Trying to get rid of my knucklehead, I guess.
No, that Librivox, though. I shouldn't criticize Librivox. It's brilliant. It puts lots of public domain stuff out for us folks to listen to. But the one I picked yesterday, I think, was particularly heavy. Never mind. Anyway, it's a great app. So great platform. I should stop calling it an app. It has lots of apps on it, or applets. So it is a platform. Do check it out. Now we move, after a week's break, into the next in our series of CSR demonstrations from Mariam.
Commentary screen reader, or the Chinese screen reader, has gotten really popular among blinds and visually impaired recently. And here, on the Blind Android Users podcast, we will have a series of episodes in which we will talk about how to use the screen reader and how to get the best out of it. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of CSR's Basics. In this episode, we're going to be mentioning the reading mode, the how to use the select menu to select something, and we would also talk about some other random features in CSR which I really like. So before we get right into the demonstrations, I just want to mention that there's been a question that has been asked, had gotten asked to me a lot by our listeners, which was, is there a character echo feature in CSR? Can we disable the character echo? And unfortunately, this feature doesn't exist until the time I'm recording this, because I don't know why, honestly, but what we gotta do is we gotta reach the developer out through the email provided in the app, or we could also send our feedback on the Telegram group, the English group, for the English listeners, or the Arabic group for the Arabic listeners, or whatever the if you're the CSR is translated to your language, you just should send your feedback on the group, or you could even send an email to Mr. Lee through the email provided in the app. You could send him an email in English and he's gonna respond to you, and probably hopefully he's gonna respond to our feedback, because I know how this feature is useful, not only for people who use on-screen keyboards, but most importantly for people who use external keyboards, external physical keyboards, or people who use CSR in Chromebooks. So I know how important this feature to them, because sometimes the screen reader, like if the screen reader is announcing every single letter that you type, could be really annoying. And for me personally, I have the character echo disabled on my PC, so I do understand why people want this feature too much. So we're gonna send our feedback. I will do so too, and hopefully the developer will respond to us. And from my experience, he listens to users' feedback most of the time. So now we'll be talking about the reading mode. What does the reading mode mean? The reading mode is simply a feature in CSR which allows you to read an article on the web in particular without, the annoyance and the mess of the ads and the links that could be in the article and everything that could, take you forever to navigate through the article, and it would take more time. So what CSR does, it filters out all that, and it only reads you the article, which is pretty cool in my opinion. It's like there's a feature in Chrome which you could turn article reading on, I think, and it would filter out everything. But sometimes it doesn't work with all browsers and doesn't work with all websites, I guess. So let's go and look at it and see how it works. I have an article that's about Android 12, so we're going to try and read it with CSR. Let's go to Chrome.
Recents button. 1 UI home. Recommended app. Chrome. Home link. Show menu. Home link.
So let's look at the article first before we actually turn the reading mode on.
Headings. Android 12 features. Everything. We are pretty much done seeing new features. Features link. By Andy Walker. Button.
As you can see, there's our buttons.
Andy Walker, senior writer. Andy Walker. Andy Walker is a news writer. Andy Walker graphic.
There's a picture here.
Senior writer. Andy Walker link.
And there's another link. So let's turn on the reading mode and see how it's gonna filter out all this. Let's go to
see and by features. We are pretty much Android 12 features. Everything confirmed so far. Up to main menu. More button.
So how can we reach the reading mode? We could definitely assign a gesture for it. By the way, we've already demonstrated in previous episodes. We could also, through customization of the main menu, put it in there. But it already exists. We opened the main menu. I haven't done anything of the letter. So to get it pretty quickly, you could open the main menu and then
more button.
Hit the more button.
Main menu.
Once, and you would find
full text, voice assist, full text. Read by. Read the whole screen. Read granular node browsing. List browsing. Reading mode. Reading mode.
As you can tell, it's already there. So we will turn it on.
Links on Android Authority may earn us a commission. Learn more. Android 12 features. Everything confirmed so far. Updated. September 8th. We are pretty much done seeing new features. So this list is fairly comprehensive. Features senior writer Andy Walker. Andy Walker is a news writer at Android Authority, hailing from Cape Town, South Africa. He has over 7 years of experience in the tech journalism space and holds a degree in English literature. He's also a Formula One fan, makes a mean GNT, and can sometimes be spotted away from his desk lazing in the South African sun. Editor C. Scott Brown C. Scott Brown is an...
So as you can tell, it's reading everything without, and it filters out everything, like, from the links to everything, pretty much. Which is, I think, pretty cool. It won't take you as much time as you would take reading the article normally. Now we're going to be talking about something that's pretty good, and I just found out about it today. If any one of you listened to, I think it was like the second or the third episode where we were talking about how to copy stuff, and we talked about the selection menu, which now called the select. which is a menu that consists of checkboxes. Like every word is a checkbox, and you check and like whatever you want to copy, and you just hit the copy button. And in this episode, I mentioned that I wish that there was another one that's granular, like that has granularity, like it has paragraphs, sentences, characters, so I could just use those checkboxes to select everything. And obviously it was there, but I didn't know about it. So how can we have this? But I just want to say that this menu doesn't work the same way as the select menu with the words, and I will show you how just right now. So let's open the main menu.
Main menu.
As usual, you can assign a gesture to this feature. You could also put it in the main menu, but I didn't do anything of the latter because I wanted to show you how to get it even before doing so. So we open the main menu, we'll hit the more button again.
More button. Main menu.
We will find something called full text selection.
Voice assistant. Full text selection.
Here it is.
Granular cancel button. Granular selection mode.
As you can tell, it's called granular selection mode. Now,
cancel button.
The cancel button.
Select all button.
The select all button.
Copy button.
The copy.
Export button.
The export.
Tom. Sentences button.
Sentences.
Characters button.
Characters.
Paragraphs button.
Paragraphs. So let's choose paragraphs.
Andy Walker unchecked. Senior writer unchecked. Links on Android Authority Mariam as a commission. Unchecked. Learn more. Learn more. Unchecked. Android 12 features. Everything confirmed so far. Updated. September 8th. Unchecked.
As you can see, all the paragraphs, every single paragraph is split as a checkbox. You could just check everything you want.
We are pretty much done seeing new features, so this list is fairly comprehensive. Unchecked. Checked.
We could check this, and you could just touch the down right corner of the screen.
Andy Walker unchecked. Andy Walker unchecked.
Sorry.
Cancel button. Select all button. Copy button.
And you hit copy.
Copied.
And it's copied.
Select all button. Cancel button.
Cancel. Done. So it's pretty easy. It's pretty well to copy everything. I feel like CSR has a lot of ways to copy. You know, the normal copying through the function menu, the copying through the rotor, copying through the select dialog, copying through the full selection granular mode. I feel like it has a lot of ways that you can copy through, which is pretty good. It spared me a lot of time because before I used to just copy what I want and then just clean it out, and it took me forever. So this episode would be pretty short. We got another thing to talk about, which is the alternative rotor or granularity mode. What does that mean? So for anyone who uses Talkback, you would know that there is an alternative granularity mode that's been added to Talkback from recently, which would be, I think it's quite close to the iOS rotor a little bit, especially when it comes to dealing with sliders and things like that. So how can you enable that? So this new granularity mode, if you haven't heard of it, or if you're not using Talkback, it's simply you swipe up and down with in one swipe. It takes you to the previous navigation type, and you swipe down and up, and one swipe takes you to the next. Before it was you just swipe up or down.
Book up.
To actually use them, you would swipe up and down to navigate between paragraphs, but the left and right swipes don't care about what status the rotor is in. which is pretty cool, because honestly, sometimes, I mean, if this is a beginner, because when I was a beginner and the rotor was like in the former state, it was kind of annoying because I didn't know what the rotor means, and when I navigate to the characters, I don't know how to get back to the default again. So now the left and right swipes work, and they don't care about what state the rotor is. They would take you to the previous and next item, but the up and down swipes would take you to like how the state of the rotor is, whether it's speech rate, or take it like it would slow or quicken the screen reader. The paragraph would take you to the previous and next paragraph, the up and down swipes. But up and down swipes, like in one swipe, would navigate between the previous type of navigation and the next type of navigation in the rotor. Now, in CSR, you could have both options. I know in Talkback you can too. But how can we enable this? We'll open the main menu. I have it enabled already. So we open the main menu.
Main menu. Voice assistant. Read the whole screen. Extension. Program settings.
Go to program settings.
20 million PDF. Download button. 20 million 200. Download button.
There's a new update.
Back button.
Yet.
Home. TTS. Advanced settings.
Go to operation settings.
Notification. Reading setting. Operation settings. Hot scheme set. Shortcut key settings.
Navigation settings.
Edge gesture. Navigation setting. Detailed focus mode. Invert swiping gestures checkbox. Wrap navigation. Warn before navigation wrapping. Remember position of the focus. Allow moving by Customize web page. Allow moving. Comment navigation. Nodes. OCR and use the alternative. Remember the selected automatically scroll. Navigation. Customize web. Use the alternative element navigation mode checkbox checked controls whether an customize standard view element navigation.
So
Nodes.
after the
OCR and
customization of the standard view, you would find something called
use the alternative element navigation mode checkbox checked controls whether an alternative element navigation mode is used. In this mode, up, down, and down up gestures are used to switch the navigation element, while the shortcut gestures are used to navigate to the next and previous element of a given type.
So, as you can tell, they already explained it too. Might be better than my explanation. So, if it's enabled, you would use the alternative, which is the down, up, and up, down. Will navigate you between the elements of the rotor, while the up and the down on their own would navigate you between this would depend on the state of the rotor, but the left and the right swipes wouldn't do anything, like they're not related to the rotor anymore, which is pretty cool, I think. Especially in the copying mode, like you would swipe up and down.
OCR and TTS rate volume copying mode.
And you would just walk through the items and copy on a pen without needing to go back to the fold and then find the item and then copy again and then scroll and then find the item and then go to copy and copy again. It's sometimes pretty annoying. I mean, it wasn't for me, but right now I feel like it's much better. And it's a better option, like if you're navigating through a huge list of things that you want to copy. So that was it for today. I hope you liked the episode. I hope it was useful, and I hope you like it. Thanks so much for listening, and definitely feel free to reach me out through contact us at blindandroidusers.com to ask any questions or for sending feedback. I'd like to listen to them for sure. And if you'd like me to demonstrate a certain thing in CSR, definitely don't hesitate to reach me out. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next week. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you do actually have any questions, do feel free to reach out to me or to the whole podcast at contact us at blindandroidusers.com. And I hope you enjoyed this one. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening.
Now we move to our next Talkback highlights segment from Warren.
Hi, welcome to our theme of highlights from Talkback. This is now installment number 5 in our series of highlights from Talkback. The last time that we looked at highlights from Talkback, we talked about the 2-finger gestures. Today, we'll be looking at the 3-finger gestures, and I'll be doing that on my Pixel 5a that got here a little over a week ago. I will now invoke my Talkback menu by tapping with 3 fingers.
Talkback menu. Actions and list.
The next thing I want to go find is the Talkback settings.
Voice Talkback settings. Talkback settings. Navigate up button out of list.
We are in the Talkback settings, and remember that what we're looking for here in the Talkback settings is the customized gestures. I will now scroll up, or rather scroll down, and find the customized
Showing
gestures.
items 1 to 14 of 14. Customized gestures. Customized gestures. Navigate up button out of list.
I will now switch to the heading mode so I can swipe down and find where it says heading, 3 fingers.
Paragraphs. Headings.
So now I will swipe down with 1 finger.
1 finger, heading, and list. 1 finger back and forth, heading. 1 finger angle, heading. 2 fingers, heading. 3 fingers, heading.
I am on the 3-finger heading. And now, instead of swiping down, I will swipe right with 1 finger.
Tap with 3 fingers, open Talkback menu.
And of course, you can change this, but this is a default if you are running a Pixel 3 or higher or Samsung device that supports One UI 3.x.
Double tap with 3 fingers, copy.
Now, double tap with 3 fingers will copy, and you have to be in an edit field. If I'm on a web page, however, that is not going to work. It will tell me text not editable. All right, the next item here is
double tap and hold with 3 fingers, cut.
Double tap and holding will cut the text. The next item,
triple tap with 3 fingers, paste.
So if I am in an edit field and I triple tap with 3 fingers, it'll paste whatever it is that I have on my clipboard. And now that you know how to go about doing this, let's quickly demonstrate this on an edit field. I will now go to my word processing folder, find one of the apps in there, and demonstrate.
Folder, word process. Keep notes.
Let's use Keep Notes. And I'm going to try to dictate something. So I am now in an edit field on Keep Notes, and by default, when you open up Keep Notes and you tap on Text Note, it places you in the body but not in the title. So I'm just going to simply dictate a little quick
voice input.
Hello, comma, new paragraph. This is a test to see how we go about using the 3-finger gestures in Talkback, period, new paragraph. I will stop this dictation and give it a test, period.
Keyboard hidden. Keep notes.
Okay, now I'll put my finger down and see if it got what I dictated.
Hello, this is a test to see how we go about using the 3-finger gestures in Talkback. I will stop this dictation and give it a test.
Now, we talked about the fact that if I double tap, it will copy the text. So I'll do that.
Copied. Hello, this is a test to see how we go about using the 5-finger gestures in Talkback. I will stop.
So I am told that that text has been copied and actually started reading what it copied. The other thing that I talked about is the fact that if I double tap with 3 fingers and hold, that will cut. So I'm going to double tap and hold.
No text to cut. Select some text first.
I am told that there's no text to cut, which means I first need to select my text. So if I select my text and then double tap with 3 fingers and hold, it will then cut that text that has been selected. I'm just going to long press, that is double tap and hold with 1 finger. And now I'm going to tap on select all.
Share out of hello, select all out of.
Now, I'm going to double tap with 3 fingers and hold.
Cut. Hello, this is a test.
And it says it is cut. Now, if I put my finger down,
Note, edit box, editing for note body, and list, keep notes.
There's nothing there because I had already cut away that text. I will now triple tap with 3 fingers to paste.
Pasted. Hello, this is a test to see how we go about using the 5-finger gestures in Talkback. I will stop this dictation and give it a test.
And that's how you go about managing those 3-finger tabs.
Thanks very much, Warren. And now a regular contributor joins us once again, Karine Kuwan, with her tip of the week. And this is about dual audio on Samsung devices.
Hi. Separate app sound and dual audio are 2 Bluetooth audio-related features that are found in Samsung's One UI. I'm going to talk about both of them, starting with the separate app sound. This feature will allow you to select an app to have its sound come out of the Bluetooth connected audio device, whereas the other sounds, including Talkback's speech, will be coming out of the phone's speaker or a connected wired earphone. I don't think that it's necessary to talk about the usefulness of such feature, so for that reason I'm going directly to show you how it works. You can find the feature in Settings, under Sounds and Vibration. Also, you can launch it using the Sound Assistant app, which is, by the way, a very useful application containing some nice features.
Ruthless. ASR. Sound Assistant. Sound Assistant. Navigate up button.
Of course, you can install the Sound Assistant using the Galaxy Store.
Media Man mode. Favorite media app. Off. Next. Bluetooth. Sound. Customize vibration patterns. Concert hall. Off. Multi-sound. Separate app sound.
Let's
Separate
connect
app sound. Navigate up.
now the Bluetooth speaker.
Separate app sound. Play media sound from one app on a different audio device. Turn on now. Off switch. Change main audio output device. Turn on now.
You double tap to change the state from off to on.
On switch. App. Go and add.
You have the app
Audio device. Bluetooth device.
and the audio device. The Gone Mad was selected by me before, and when I press on
App. Go and add.
the app here,
Navigate up.
all of the apps that I have added before will be shown here in this list.
Not checked. Add apps. Not checked. Radio button. Clock. Not checked. Radio button. YouTube.
In addition to the add apps.
Add app. Check. Add apps.
When I press on this,
Not checked. Not checked. Radio button. BBC News. Not checked. Radio button. SVN.
I can add apps
14 to 28 of
from this list. Going back and keeping the Gone Mad selected,
Navigate up. Button. Audio device. Bluetooth device. Navigate. Audio device. Select the audio device. Not checked. Radio button. Phone. Checked. Radio button. Bluetooth device. A20 Pro.
going back. Okay, so here the audio device selected is the Bluetooth device. But as you can notice, the main audio output device is the Bluetooth speaker. So it's the same device that was selected. So in order for the separation to take effect, I have to change the main audio output device to the phone. And I have a notification telling me this. Let's
Notification page. Photo height. Collapsed. Change main audio output device. Android system 1403. The audio device you selected for GoNamad, A20 Pro, is the same as your main audio device. Change your main audio device to this phone to separate sound for this app. Expand. Collapse. But OK. But
and OK. Now the sound or the main audio output device, all of the sounds are coming out of it, which is the phone, excluding, of course, the Gone Mad music player. Unfortunately, I can't have the main audio output device as the Bluetooth connected device and exclude the Talkback. So the Talkback only will be coming out of the phone speaker or a connected wired earphone, because Talkback will not be appearing in the list of apps that I can select, neither the Google's version nor the Samsung's one. So the only solution I can think of is just to use the phone as the main audio output device and to exclude the media player that I want to use or the app that I want to use I want its sound to come out of the Bluetooth connected audio device. Now let's try the Gone Mad. Let's play something.
Page. Thota keys are Aurora. Go Nomad. Play. Expand. Play preview. Play / pause. Play previous. Play / pause. Play next track.
Okay, so Go Mad sound was coming out of the Bluetooth connected speaker. Now I have to note something, that if you disconnect the speaker and then reconnect it, your choice of selecting the phone as the main audio device will not be respected. So you have to turn off the separation and turn it on again to have the notification, and then just do what I did before. Now let's move to the second feature, which is the dual audio. Dual audio is a feature that will let you share the audio output between two connected Bluetooth devices. Such feature may prove useful if you are sharing audio with other person. So you can connect your earphone and the other person's earphone, and you can listen at the same time to the same audio. And the good part about it is that you can select different volumes for different devices. So you can listen using the volume that you like, and the other person will listen using the volume that suits him or her. Now what I have to do is connect two Bluetooth devices. This speaker is already connected, and I'm going to connect another speaker.
Connected.
Okay, so now it's the main audio device.
Alerting notifications. Play next track button.
Now what I have to do is to press on the media from the notifications. And of course, I have to enable the presence or the media button to show in the notifications using quick settings. Let's see here what I have to do. I will swipe down with 2 fingers after I launch the notifications. Also, I can, of course, have a gesture, assign gesture in Talkback to go directly to quick settings.
Quick settings. Bluetooth connected. Back button. Navigation bar.
Near the top of the screen at the right edge, I have the more options.
More options button. Quick. Pop-up window. Quick panel layout.
And I have the quick panel layout in the more options. I'll press on that.
Quick settings. Quick panel layout. 4G. Phone. Show brightness controller. Checked. Show devices and media buttons.
Show devices and media buttons. I will check on this.
Not checked.
And
on.
Press on done.
Checked. Switch. Done. Quick settings.
Okay, now the media and devices are shown in notifications. I can use a shortcut maker to have a shortcut added to the home screen for the app, for the media or for the devices sections, if I don't want to have them included in the notification panel. This is possible. Now,
Wi-Fi on. Notification shade.
Let's press on the media.
Page. Thota keys are devices. Flashlight cop. Media. Battery 60%. More option. Smart things button. Device icon button. Kareem's Galaxy. Album thumb. Thota keys up. Go Nomad.
I'll see the
Previous
list of devices.
Button. Play button. Next button. Audio output.
Audio output.
Selected. Chen 03. Battery 60% gonna mad selected.
This is the speaker that I'm using now. And swipe.
Selected. Checked. Checkbox.
It's checked. And then swipe.
Selected. 88%. Slider.
This is the volume. I can
93%.
increase it.
Slider. 100%. Slider. A20 Pro battery.
And then
30%.
I have the second device, which is the A20 Pro, and a checkbox.
Not checked.
Let's
Checkbox.
check it.
A20 Pro battery. 30%. Selected. 89%. Slider.
And then the volume. So let's see. Now the sound is coming out of the two.
Selected. Checked. Checkbox. Selected. A20 Pro battery. 30% gonna mad selected.
You can hear some delay between the speakers. Slight delay.
Selected. Selected. Checked. Checkbox. Selected. 89%. Slider. 95%. Slider. What? Selected. One. Selected. Check. Selected. 100%. Slider. 79%. Slider.
So as you can
73%. Back button.
As you can notice, I'm just increasing and decreasing each volume independently. Now,
Go and add. Album thumb button.
let's play something.
Separate app sound. App go. Audio device. Notification.
So it's coming out of the two devices at the same time. So this was my demo of the separate app sound and the dual audio features. I think that those two features should be added to all Android devices. I'm not sure if if all Samsung phones are containing the feature, but I'm sure that they are available on many of them, including the S series phones, I think starting from the S8, and on some A devices, and also on the Note series. I hope that my explanation was clear, and thank you.
Thanks, Karine. Always very informative and helpful demos, and on things that are quite often overlooked. And certainly I've switched file managers since listening to one of your demonstrations. So thank you for that. And finally, this week, it's the My Android Journey section. And I shall welcome once again my compatriot, Bilal Majid.
And I want to say that this is my favorite segment. And the good thing about this one, too, is that he's my brother from another mother using the Pixel device. So kudos, my man. Welcome.
I call you charity cases rather than siblings.
There goes the crybaby.
Warren, do you want to lead this?
Yeah. So I started when I was about in 2007, when I was at school. I got my dad got me a Nokia N70. Remember those Nokia N70s? With talks, yeah, Symbian.
Oh yeah.
Good phone. It was. I used that with Talkback. Talks, not Talkback. Talks, and I used that until 2014 when I got the Fruit one.
You are forgiven.
Okay, I used that Fruit one until 2015. Then I got another Fruit S, 6S, and basically what I found with the iPhone was voiceover is good. There's a lot of but with Android, I heard that you can make a lot of customizations. For example, you can plug in a USB to your computer, and you can add some music files to your phone without downloading the whole iTunes shenanigans, So in 2018, I got my Samsung S9. I thought Talkback was going to be very, very complicated, but it seemed just very user-friendly. And another thing I like about Android is you can download third-party TTS voices. With the Fruit Cake, you can't, because you can only use the voices that VoiceOver provides, which is annoying. And I've told Apple to add some more voices, but they just don't listen. It's like they're totally deaf to my feedback. So, and then in 2019, I got my Pixel 4. And what I loved about that was it was a get stock Android, and the Android is very pure. Warren, you know what it's like. It's nice to use.
It is a beautiful phone.
Yep.
Now, did you have any difficulty transitioning? Because one of the problems, or one of the things that usually bother people coming from other platforms, for example, or more so especially when you're transitioning from Symbian to a touchscreen phone, for example, it could be a problem for many. Did you have any difficulty, especially when you started with, I like what you call it, the fruitcake? Did you have any difficulty?
What I did was, you might know this charity ad. It's called Action for Blind. You know about Action for Blind People?
Never heard of it. Where is that?
Ed knows it. Ed
is
knows
that in
it.
the UK? Okay.
It's a charity in the UK, and they've now merged with the RNIB. I went to some training sessions, how to use the iPad, and I learned how to use touchscreen from there, swiping left and right, using the rotor. And then I thought if I could use an Apple device, I could easily use an Android device. And I'm a quick learner when it comes to learning technology, and I didn't have any problems with that.
Now, one of the problems that people talk about is those so-called angular gestures that we have on Android. Drawing a line down and curving to the right. People call it letter L's or whatever. Yeah. Was that any problem in your use case scenario?
No, there was no problem. The only problem I had was I reset my phone, and I'm used to the interface where, Warren, when you tap the bottom right hand of the screen and you click, it says overview. When you're it says overview and you want to clear all your apps from the app switcher. I preferred that method. When I reset my phone, I found I couldn't do that, so I contacted Google and peered my eyes. How can I change it to that? I'm confused here. I don't know what to do. And she was like, "Oh, well," she was scratching her head and saying, "Oh, I don't know what you mean." I said, "Check and email me the article and something." And then I eventually they taught me how to change it.
Thank you for such a great Android journey story.
Anyway, Austin, how can people get in touch with us? Thanks very much, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Adios, amigos y amigas, right?
Yeah, we'll see you next week.
Later.
And that has been another episode of the Blind Android Users Podcast. As always, we appreciate hearing from you. You send those email messages to contact us at blindandroidusers.com. For those My Android Journey stories, we encourage you to send those to myandroidjourney@blindandroidusers.com. Until we see you in our next episode, you have a wonderful day.